If you're serious about building muscle, you have probably been absolutely buried in advice about protein. How much do you need? What kind is best? Does timing matter? It gets confusing fast. But what if the answer was actually way simpler than you think? Well, today we're going to cut right through all that noise and build your ultimate science-backed protein plan.
So, what if I told you that out of all the complex, messy world of nutritional science, there's one single number that could be the key to unlocking your muscle growth potential? I know, it sounds a little too simple to be true, right? Well, stick with me, because by the end of this, you're not only going to know that number, you'll know exactly how to use it. We're going to tackle this whole thing like a pyramid of priorities, building a solid foundation first and working our way up. We'll start with the absolute basics of how muscle is even built, then we'll get to the most important part, your magic number for total daily protein. After that, we'll climb the pyramid to look at sources, timing, safety, before putting the whole shebang together into one simple, actionable plan.
So first things first. Before we can even talk about optimizing your protein, we really need to understand what's actually happening inside your body after a tough workout. This is the fundamental engine of muscle growth.
Okay, so think of your muscles right after you train. They're primed for growth, but they desperately need building materials. When you eat protein, your body breaks it down into amino acids. And muscle protein synthesis, or MPS, is the process where your body takes those amino acids and uses them to repair and build bigger, stronger muscle fibers. It's literally a construction crew getting to work on your gains. But here's the thing. Every construction site also has a demolition crew, and that's muscle protein breakdown, or MPB. It's the totally natural process of breaking down old or damaged muscle. So here's the key. You only build muscle when your construction crew, synthesis, is working faster than your demolition crew, breakdown. And the two best ways to supercharge that construction crew? You already know, lifting heavy weights and eating enough protein. And now, for the main event. This is the base of our pyramid. This is the single most important factor for building muscle. Forget everything else for just a second. If you only get one thing right, please make it this: your total daily protein intake. So where does this magic number even come from? Well, it's not from some gym bro lore or supplement ad. It comes from a massive 2018 systematic review and meta-analysis. This is the highest level of scientific evidence you can get, where researchers combine the results of dozens of individual studies to find the true overall effect. They looked at thousands of people who were lifting weights and taking protein. And here it is, the number you need to remember: 1.6 grams of protein per kilogram of body weight per day. The researchers found that this was basically the point of diminishing returns. Going higher didn't really lead to significantly more muscle. So for most of us, this is the evidence-based sweet spot for maximizing our gains. Now that 1.6 is a fantastic starting point, but we can actually fine-tune it based on your specific goal. As you can see here, for muscle growth, the ideal range is about 1.6 to 2.2 grams per kilo. But look what happens when you're cutting, when you're trying to lose fat. Your protein needs actually go up. Why is that? Well, when you're in a calorie deficit, your body is way more likely to break down muscle for energy. That higher protein intake acts like a shield, protecting your hard-earned gains. So just find your goal on this chart, and you've got your precise daily target. Okay, you've got your daily number. The foundation of our pyramid is officially set. So the next logical question as we move up is, where should that protein come from? And this brings us to that classic debate, plant versus animal protein. When it comes to building muscle, does it really make a difference? On one side of the ring, we have plant-based proteins from sources like soy, peas, beans, and lentils. And on the other, we've got the animal-based proteins. The traditional staples like whey protein, meat, eggs, and dairy. Now, both can absolutely help you build muscle, but are they created equal? Well, a recent meta-analysis decided to compare them head-to-head. And when combined with resistance training, both protein types led to muscle gains. No surprise there. However, the data did show a small but statistically significant advantage for the folks consuming animal protein. But hold on, the story does not end there. The most important question is why. And this is the real secret. The key isn't animal versus plant. It all comes down to an amino acid called leucine. Think of leucine as the spark plug that literally ignites muscle protein synthesis. Animal proteins just happen to be naturally richer in leucine. So that slight advantage we saw in the studies, it's almost certainly because of higher leucine intake. And this is fantastic news, because it means you can absolutely maximize muscle growth on a plant-based diet.
You just need to be smart about it, either by eating slightly larger amounts of plant protein or by combining different sources to make sure you get enough of that leucine spark plug.
All right, let's climb to the next level of our pyramid, timing. You've probably heard of the anabolic window, right? That supposed 30-minute magical time frame after a workout where you have to slam a protein shake or all your gains will just vanish. So, is that a myth or is it reality?
Well, that same landmark study that gave us our magic number also looked at timing, and this quote really says it all. The most salient variable is still total daily protein intake. In other words, hitting your total number for the day is just vastly more important than stressing about some 30-minute window. That so-called anabolic window is actually open for many, many hours after your workout.
So, while the 30-minute window is pretty much a myth, that doesn't mean timing is completely useless. The research shows that spacing your protein can be a smart way to optimize things. Think of it like this. Each protein meal you eat triggers that muscle-building signal for a few hours. So by spacing your meals out, kind of like you see here, you can trigger that signal multiple times throughout the day, creating a much more consistent muscle-building environment.
Okay, we're nearing the very peak of our pyramid, and we have to address a big one, safety. We're talking about eating a lot more protein than the standard recommendation. And that naturally leads to a pretty crucial question: is all this protein safe for your kidneys?
This is probably one of the most persistent myths in all of nutrition. The idea that a high-protein diet is going to destroy the kidneys of a healthy person has been around for decades. But what does the science actually show?
For people with healthy kidneys, the science is overwhelmingly clear. High-protein diets are safe. Yes, eating more protein does make your kidneys work a bit harder. But think of it like your muscles working harder during a workout. It's a sign of adaptation, of strengthening, not damage. For a healthy organ, this is just part of its job.
And here is the crucial distinction. This advice is for people with healthy kidneys. If you have a pre-existing kidney disease or some kind of impaired function, it is a completely different story. In that case, a high-protein diet can put extra strain on your kidneys and potentially accelerate a decline in function. So, if you have any history of kidney problems, it is absolutely essential that you talk to your doctor before making any big changes to your diet.
We've climbed the entire pyramid, from the foundational science all the way up to the finer details. Now, let's put it all together into a simple, powerful, and science-backed plan that you can start using literally today. Here it is, your blueprint. Step 1, calculate your target. Start with that magic number, 1.6 grams per kilogram of body weight, or about 0.7 grams per pound. Step 2, prioritize hitting that total number every single day. Seriously, this is the most important step. Step 3, optimize by spacing your intake out, aiming for 4 to 5 protein feedings every 3 to 5 hours. And finally, step 4, choose high-quality, leucine-rich protein sources to really kickstart that muscle protein synthesis. Follow these 4 steps, and you will have your nutrition totally dialed in to support every ounce of effort you put in at the gym. So there you have it. The confusion is gone, and it's been replaced by a clear, evidence-based strategy. The science provides the map, but you're the one who has to walk the path. So the only question left is, what are you going to build?
Hey, if this explainer helps clear up the whole protein puzzle for you, do me a huge favor and hit that like button. And make sure to subscribe for more deep dives into the science behind getting stronger. Thanks for watching. Now go hit your protein target.